Hi everyone on the channel. Before we start, you already know, subscribe and share because that helps a lot. Now yes, let's get into the news everyone is talking about. Last night looked like a shining night for Yaman. The actor showed up at a special event and, as always, stole every glance. High energy, an impeccable smile, charisma that filled the room. And at first, hardly anyone noticed something odd. Sarah Bluma wasn't there, but the real blow came backstage. Jan received a message with a photo taken in Italy, and, according to people who were close to him, that moment completely changed his face. He tried to keep going with the evening, stay elegant in front of friends and fans, but he looked shattered, as if he were holding something huge inside. And that's when everything explodes. Jan decides to call Sarah. The conversation was short and brutal. He made it clear that for him, the relationship was over. He spoke about betrayal, disappointment, how he didn't deserve something like that. And then he sent her the photo to shut the door once and for all. Sarah tried to explain herself, but it was already too late. Jan, even more hurt as old warnings came back to him, hung up in anger and blocked her on social media and every other way of contacting him. The end? People who know him say that, despite the hit, Jan acted with real firmness. He kept trying to enjoy the night, greeted followers, but his sadness was obvious. And the hardest part, they swear he won't forget what happened, and that this breakup will weigh on him for a long time. Meanwhile, Sarah's silence is also striking. Sources close to her say she was left in shock after the call, not knowing what to say or how to react. But with Jan so determined and all channels closed, there doesn't seem to be room for fixing things or for intermediaries. This drama didn't shake only his personal life. It also set off the tabloids and the fans. Social media filled with supportive messages for Jan, while everyone waits for Sarah's first move. Even so, he keeps moving forward with his projects, working as usual and holding on to the strong image that defines him, even with a broken heart. So the conclusion, for now, is clear. Yaman and Sarah Bluma are definitively over. And that photo from Italy was the breaking point. What remains to be seen is what she will do in the coming days and how he will carry on after such a public blow. What do you all think? Do you believe this marks a new beginning for Jan? Or will the scandal keep growing? I'll read you in the comments. What I feel when I look at everything surrounding Demet Özdemir in this story is a strange mix of exhaustion and clarity. Exhaustion because the topic has turned into an endless soap opera that no longer even seems to be about real people. Clarity because when I strip away the noise, I see a pretty clear pattern. Demet is in the center of the spotlight, but not necessarily for who she is, rather for what she sparks. And to me, that says a lot about how her image has been handled lately. It seems to me she plays on a field where spectacle matters more than feelings. I'm not saying that as a moral insult, but as an intuition. Too many scenes, too many twists, too much need to keep people hooked. There are comments talking about marketing and strategy, and I can't help thinking the same. This story stretches and stretches as if someone needed the attention not to fade. In that sense, Demet gives me the impression she knows perfectly how the mechanism works. When to stay quiet, when to appear, when to let mystery do the work for her. That can be media intelligence, yes, but it also turns everything into theater. Another point I can't ignore is the sense of a huge ego that many people perceive in her. I don't know whether it's ego or simple self-assertion, But you can feel a me-first energy that in such an exposed relationship clashes with any attempt to build something stable. Sometimes I feel Demet doesn't want to be anyone's partner in the classic sense. Not because she can't love, but because her center of gravity is somewhere else. Her career, her space, her freedom. If that's the case, fine. But then I don't understand why keep feeding a romantic narrative with no solid base. That's where the contradiction starts for me. There's also the issue of priorities. I think a lot about what someone commented, that she could remember once in a while that she has a small child. I don't take that as an attack on Demet's motherhood. I'm not in any position to judge, but as a sign that her life has real layers that don't fit well with constant melodrama. Having a child changes your pace, your decisions, your bonds. I believe that if she's at a point in life where she can't or doesn't want to sustain a relationship continuously, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is pretending otherwise, or letting the public believe it while privately the story falls apart. That's why I understand why people are fed up, not only with the media mud, but with the impression that everything revolves around someone who absorbs visibility without giving truth in return. There are very harsh, even cruel comments toward her. And I don't buy that gratuitous nastiness, but I do recognize the root of the anger. When someone seems to use a bond with another person to reinforce their own spotlight, the public senses it. And it seems to me, Demet, consciously or not, has ended up tied to that idea of being there so the camera doesn't go off. Still, I can't see her as a simple villain. I think Demet is more complex. Possibly, she's a woman who has gotten used to surviving in a world where the public narrative devours you if you don't control it yourself. Maybe that's why her moves look cold. Because she learned to protect herself with distance, strategy, ambiguity. Sometimes the public mistakes that armor for lack of feelings, but I see more a logic of self-preservation than malice. The problem is that in that self-preservation, others can end up used as pieces on the board. And that's where the human side hurts me. Because if the story with Can was real, even only at times, I feel Demet didn't know or didn't want to keep the balance. And if it was fiction from the beginning, then it's even worse to have let it grow into a circus. Either way, I sense a lack of emotional responsibility toward those involved, toward Can himself, and also toward the public who throws their heart into these stories. Ultimately, my opinion of Demet Özdemir is uncomfortable but honest. I see her as someone very skilled at staying in the center, maybe too skilled. I see independence, character, ambition, but also a tendency to let the show swallow the truth. I'd like to see her outside that permanent dramatization wheel because I think her real talent gets buried under the foam. If she wants to be alone, let her be alone without selling romance. If she wants to love, let her love without a script. I don't need Demet to be perfect, only to be clearer with herself and with others. Because when everything looks like strategy, what gets lost in the end is the simplest thing: trust.